When we got together and we were talking about how we're going to do this, and is there a way to make this flow, because we come from 3 different offices, Marlies came up with this ultimate sandwich metaphor, and it was, I'm going to speak first, and I'm at the bottom. I'm that soggy bun that's really messy, but you can't have the rest of it without it. Marlies is going to be your favorite sandwich filling. Mark is going to be that perfect bun on top with sesame seeds. And Pam is going to be all the nice condiments and spices that no good sandwich can be without. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Harris Center, because that's where I work. We are the stewards of YAFO.ca. YAFO has been mentioned a lot lately around today here. It is a unique tool in Canada that allows researchers to post their profiles, interests, projects, and it allows people outside of the academic community to post their research needs and questions. We are Memorial University's outreach arm that deals with regional development, public policy, and like everybody else at this university, we do really only 3 things, which is teaching, research, and outreach in our own way. Where we are different is that we really believe in engagement and knowledge mobilization. This is the definition that SSHRC uses. It's a definition that I passionately hate, and I don't mind saying that, for all sorts of reasons. It's not very inclusive, and it's very difficult to understand what it actually means. There's a better one by Clark and Kelly that we sometimes use. But over the years, we developed a Harris Center one that's in plain English, and it's ever-changing, so don't write it down. It's probably not going to be the same in the next presentation. So we believe that knowledge mobilization is about putting available knowledge into active service to benefit society. Both research knowledge, that's academic knowledge, and experiential knowledge, that's non-academic knowledge, are worth sharing for the benefit of all. Knowledge mobilization is always about knowledge exchange and should be mutually beneficial. See, it changed since last time we talked. It changes all the time. In order to do that, we developed a knowledge mobilization toolbox that's available to everybody at this university. So we developed a series of regional workshops where we take people from the academic community, we take them to communities around Newfoundland and Labrador, and they engage in a discussion with the people in the community around topics that that community felt were of importance to that particular region. We have a series of public policy events that Mike coordinates. They include sort of in-camera sessions where researchers can present their research to policymakers, and they also involve public forums such as Memorial Presents, like the one we are going to have tonight. And of course, we have YAFO. But it's so nice to ask people to do knowledge mobilization, but you really have to give them some resources to do that. So we developed a suite of applied research funds. They all operate exactly the same way, with the exception of the student research fund. If you want to know more about that one, ask me later, because it's different from the others. Essentially, there is a very simple online application process that requires a 6-page proposal. The dates are set a year in advance. There is absolutely nothing to prevent you from writing your application for Applied Research Fund for next year now, because, well, we can't tell you yet, but at the end of this month, we'll be able to tell you when that deadline is going to be. All of the applications are then evaluated by a committee that includes academic chair, always, and then members from community, academia, industry association, depending what the fund is. The Applied Research Fund is open to just about every project you can imagine, as long as it's applied, which in our case means that the results of your research can be put to good use by somebody outside of academia. That's the simplest way I can explain it. The others are a little bit more focused. One is on waste management, and another one is on, there's a word water missing, RBC, Water Research and Outreach Fund. Don't get confused. These are not for engineers and natural scientists only. We have funded projects from all over the place, including folklore, because there is a lot of policy questions, perception questions, education questions that we would love to have answered. So anybody is eligible to apply for these, and if you have an outside partner, you actually get some extra points. And we can also help you find an outside partner for your project, so get in touch with us. When you write a good application for us, and knowledge mobilization is an interesting concept because it's becoming quite prominent across the Tri-Council funding, especially with SSHRC. Now you have to write a knowledge mobilization section. When you write an application for us, but I think this carries on for everybody else, here are some of the questions that you should probably be thinking about and trying to answer in your knowledge mobilization section. So, how is this relevant to others? Can the results of this research change how we do something for the better? Will my research help somebody understand an issue better than they do now? And is there a non-academic partner audience for my research project? And we are always very happy at the Harris Center to help you organize knowledge mobilization events so that you can reach those audiences that you have identified. Before I hand you over to Marlies, I do want to say that I really want you all to check YAFO. If you are an academic researcher, please enter your profile and your projects. If you're not there, I can't find you. So it's in your interest. And if you're coming from outside of academia and you have interesting project ideas, do enter them into YAFO. Karen over there, me, Amy, who is not here at the moment. Our job is to connect communities with academic researchers. We do that 24/7. I can really say that because people stop me in the downtown on Sunday and ask me to help them out with stuff. So we really create those connections. We help build partnerships, and that's why we are those soggy buns on the bottom. But when you get a partnership established, when you get Aura funding, a lot of researchers use Aura funding as a seed money to apply for larger grants, such as Tri-Council funding, for example. Because they have something where they can demonstrate how is this going to work on a smaller scale or how it can be scaled up. We are not the only ones at this university who have that model of funding. Newfoundland and Labrador Center for Applied Health Research is another organization within the university that has similar funding. And ICER, for example, has also similar funding. Marlies has some really handy websites to show you that will list all of those funding options, when they're available, when the deadlines are. So I'll just hand you over to her.
I am Marlies Rise. I'm the Director of the Office of Research Services. And as Boyan pointed out, I will be talking to you about Tri-Council funding, or Tri-Agency funding, as they now prefer to be called. But before I get there, I thought I'd give you a quick overview of the services offered through the Office of Research Services and the Office of Collaborations and Partnerships. Because if you're looking at applying for funding, you'll find your way to us. And so I wanted to give you a snapshot of what it is that we can do for you when you come to us. So at the outset, our offices are both responsible for providing the institutional signature on applications and also on contracts and agreements. Our efforts in the last fiscal year resulted in roughly about $110 million of funded research projects, representing about 1,500 different projects all told. Again, for grant applications, we provide comprehensive reviews, which would be particularly useful for individuals who may be applying to a new program for the first time. So that would entail a very detailed analysis of the application that you've developed, looking at how it matches with the scope of the program as it's described by the agency, and looking at your budget and making various suggestions that can help you to have the most successful or potentially successful application that you have. We also provide an institutional review, which is kind of a quickie overview just to make sure that what you have proposed matches with the agency policy, matches with the university policy, and it's been reviewed by our academic unit. And that's, again, a quick review prior to submission. For contracts, again, we review and negotiate the terms of contracts and agreements. At present, both offices provide authorizations to financial administrative services to establish research accounts. That's sort of a limited term function at this point. We're looking at potentially introducing some changes to that, some decentralization to improve efficiencies, so stay tuned. Also through the Office of Research Services, we administer internally funded grant programs, which I'll speak to a bit more going further and further on in my presentation. The Office of Research Services is also the key liaison with the Tri-Agency, and we also are the liaisons for some other funding agencies. However, the Office of Collaborations and Partnerships are the main contact for CFI, ACOA, and RDC and the CRC, as well as PRNL, and I'll give you the long names of those on the next slide. We also both undertake workshops and other faculty and staff orientations, again, to help people understanding process and other key elements in relation to attracting research funding. We capture and report information on Memorial's research effort, and that usually appears in publications such as the Inventory of Sponsored Projects, as well as, for example, the President's Report. We develop new research strategic initiatives in consultation with the Office of the VPR, and we provide information services, so we undertake advertisement of research funding opportunities. So this just gives you a quick schematic to show you how our offices relate and interrelate. Again, on the your left-hand side, the Office of Collaborations and Partnerships. They undertake most of the research administration in relation to ACOA AIF, so the Atlantic Innovation Fund projects, the Canada Foundation for Innovation, Canada Research Chairs, applications going to and agreements associated with the Research and Development Corporation, and also such agreements and applications in relation to Petroleum Research Newfoundland or PRNL opportunities. The OCP also houses CREATE, or the Core Research Equipment and Instrument Training Network, and they also house MRP, which is effectively a project management, or to a certain extent a project management arm of the Office of Collaborations and Partnerships, and Mark will tell you a bit more about that. Again, in the Office of Research Services, we're your main contact for Tri-Council funding, as well as a large list of many other agencies. I think currently we deal with, on an annual basis, around 250 different agencies on an annual basis. We also help with the negotiation of grants and also research contracts. We administer the internally funded projects. And we also house ICARE, or the Interdisciplinary Committee on Ethics and Human Research. Basically, we're just their home base. So, as Boyan mentioned, I will be going and talking a lot about tri-agency funding. However, I did want to take the time to point out that there's more than just tri-agency funding. In fact, there's an awful lot of funding. And Boyan talked to you about some of the internal programs that are available through the Harris Center. But I'd also like to point out that if you go to Memorial's front web page, which currently has a wonderful splash of the engagement week, if you click on the research tab, that'll bring you then to the research website, and at the bottom of which is a listing of upcoming deadlines. And so those are going to be opportunities that are going to have deadlines coming up, and those are the external deadlines. If you then click on the More Deadlines button, you'll get actually a full listing of opportunities for the year, and that actually scrolls down quite some way through month by month of the opportunities that are there. It's updated regularly, and we're also, through a new launch of the VPR website, expect to have enhanced functionality on this site as well, such that it would be searchable for metadata, obviously. But also, we're looking towards building tools that would have an automatic feed for this, so you could actually subscribe to getting notices on new opportunities, and that should also potentially have deeper functionality that would allow you to subscribe, particularly to receive notices on opportunities that relate to one of our 10 or one or more of our 10 research themes that are in the framework, the research framework. I'd also note that we also have, I put there a link to our internal grant opportunities, which you may also be interested in. So from that, though, I'll now move into the promised information, which relates to the tri-agency. So the tri-agency is comprised of three organizations: the Canadian Institutes of Health Research, the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council, and the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council, and I provided you links to each of their websites. The information that I'll provide next is actually summarized from any of these agency websites, and so if you wanted more information on any given topic, you could quickly go to any of those sites and get more information, or contact us, and we'd be happy to help you read and interpret. For CHR states on their website in particular that their mission is to create new scientific knowledge and to enable its translation into improved health, more effective health services and products, and a strengthened Canadian healthcare system. With that sort of mission, you're bound to be open and ready for engagement in your research. So many of the CHR programs do lend themselves very well to engagement and engaged research. In further support of that, I'd also note that nominated principal applicants, which is the name of the lead applicant on any given application to CHR, can include independent researchers and knowledge users. And CHR defines a knowledge user as a practitioner, a policymaker, an educator, a decision maker, a healthcare administrator, community leader, or an individual in a health charity, patient group, private sector organization, or a media outlet. So obviously, this is a broad community that they're talking about. So again, the programs do lend themselves to engagement very well. They have a very long list of funding opportunities on their website, and this is the link for it. But I'll sort of zero in on some of their key programs that relate to engagement. Their knowledge translation grants, if you sort of follow on the website what they have listed under partnerships, you end up getting to a list, and this is a subset of that list, of what they refer to as knowledge translation grants and select funding tools. And they include planning grants, which effectively give you an opportunity to meet with new or prospective partners or potentially existing partners to talk about what opportunities that you may want to develop together. It also lists collaborative health research projects, which facilitate collaboration between health scientists and also the natural sciences or engineering. Knowledge synthesis and knowledge to action grants really focus on bringing together researchers, independent researchers, and knowledge users in particular, so you end up with applied research products. And then they also fund a proof of principle grant, which has its main focus on, obviously, knowledge translation under commercialization. And that often involves an industry partner. Although it's not included in their knowledge translation list, they also have another grant called the Partnership for Health System Improvement, or what they call PHYSI grants. And these are partnership grants that can involve obviously universities, communities, government, or industry partners. They focus on supporting researchers and decision makers interested in conducting applied health services and policy research. There's a matching component, usually of about 20%, and more information can be found on the web link provided there. NSERC promotes and supports discovery research and fosters innovation by encouraging Canadian companies to participate and invest in post-secondary research projects. And accordingly, many of NSERC's programs are designed for engagement. They do have on their website a partnerships program, and again, their partnerships program fosters collaboration between university researchers, colleges, and other sectors, including government and private sector. And more information is available on their website about it. The partnership programs include the programs that I've listed here. The strategic partnership programs zero in on areas of national importance, and a recent call for the strategics was focused on aquaculture and fisheries. And so again, that changes based on the strategic area that they advertise. The industry-driven collaborative research and development program addresses industry research and training needs and priorities. And they also build capacity or critical mass of expertise through the industrial research chairs. Commercialization, their commercialization program, again, fosters knowledge translation and technology transfer, and can sometimes fund things such as patenting or other sort of end-user activities. And then their training and industry program mostly supports students and postdocs towards working with industry. It would be very difficult to go, well, unless we had today, tomorrow, and the next day, to go through all of the grant opportunities that are available through NSERC that work well with engagement. But I've decided to highlight just a snapshot of them. And many of these have been applied for through Memorial successfully. Interaction grants, in particular, give you an opportunity to just go and meet with a prospective partner to have that discussion. Engage grants take things just a little bit further. They fund short-term research and development projects that are aimed at addressing a company-specific problem. So they don't really fund what we at Memorial really think of as engagement. It's not so much two-way, so it's not really engagement, but instead it's really a very good first date. It's an opportunity to get to know an industry partner and decide maybe if there's a good opportunity to carry on that relationship. If you do decide you would like to continue on that relationship, then you could potentially look at getting a collaborative research and development grant, which really that is a good program that does bring together researchers in truly collaborative research and true engagement. One of the things that is critical when you do get into these types of engaged research opportunities is to make sure that you and your partner or prospective partner understand each other and understand what your expectations are. You want to have a dialogue at the front end about who's going to own intellectual property, what's publication going to look at, how are students going to be involved. And that's something that Mark is going to talk a little bit more about in one of his concluding slides as well. NSERC also supports the Idea to Innovation, or I2I program, which again also can provide support for technology transfer. The last of the tri-agencies, of course, that I will give you information on is SSHRC, and SSHRC promotes and supports post-secondary based research and training in the humanities and social scientists. And the mandate that they support is it is very broad. It is very, very broad. Many of the SSHRC programs do also lend themselves to engagement, and they clearly, from the information provided on their website, support partnership with business partners, community partners, and they also provide support through joint initiatives with other sectors, other agencies, government departments, and so on and so forth. SSHRC also has on their website their partnership strategy, which if you're interested in SSHRC funding, I would encourage you to read, and I provided the link for it. SSHRC in funding research do so under 3 programs: Talent, Insight, and Connection, although many of the funding or grant opportunities that sort of work well with engagement would be found under the Insight program and the Connection program. The Insight program supports research excellence in all subject areas. Again, I said it was broad, and it is, including those that transcend the capacity of one scholar, institution, or discipline. And again, it works very nicely with engagement. The Connection program focuses on supporting specific activities and tools that facilitate the flow and exchange of research knowledge, and in effect, knowledge mobilization. So I've selected 3 of the grant opportunities. There's the Partnership Development Grant, which is usually sort of an earlier stage type of opportunity. It supports projects usually over 1 to 3 years, and it supports the development of a partnership and a project related to a partnership. Partnership grants, which is kind of the next level on, provide support for 4 to 7 years. These are usually very large-scale projects, oftentimes that support new or often existing formal research partnerships, and they do have a very heavy emphasis on knowledge mobilization. Connection grants usually do support, again, shorter-term type projects, but they do target knowledge mobilization events and related activities. So if you're interested in any of these programs or applying to any of these grants, I would encourage you to contact the Office of Research Services. I provided some contact information here. We'd be happy to help walk you through the myriad of options and also the details of the how-tos. So at that point, I'd like to hand it over to Mark.
As you can see, there's a lot of funding options. Today, I'd like to speak to you about one program in particular called the Atlantic Innovation Fund, which has become a very important part of MUN's research portfolio. And the theme of my talk is investing in innovation at Memorial. The Atlantic Innovation Fund supports R&D directly linked to the development and commercialization of technology-based products and services. The nice thing about this program, you can receive funding up to $3 million per project, or 80% of your total project cost. Realistically, you might expect to get somewhere in the range of 60 to 65% of your total project cost and expect to find matching money for the balance. That matching money usually can be made up by a contribution from your industry partner and or sources like RDC, NSERC, and so on. But there's multiple sources. We see situations where projects are funded by a minimum of 3 partners and some where they're funded by 7 or 8 partners. Every project's kind of unique. A key requirement for success in this project is the participation of a private sector partner. AIF has been around since 2001. And I guess at the outset, the focus has been on trying to build capacity so that we had the research expertise that we could offer to the private sector. And over time, I think we've built a significant expertise, and we've experienced quite a good success rate in our applications with AIF. We're currently experiencing a success rate of 2 to 3 proposals per annual round, which I think probably exceeds anybody in the region. Just to give you an idea of the numbers, total AIF investments in Newfoundland since 2001, there's been 68 projects approved with direct contributions of $196 million, which is equivalent to a total project value of all contributors of $451 million. Currently, we have 16 active projects, 13 of which we are the direct proponent, 3 of which were research participants. The direct contributions for our projects consist of $35 million, or $60 million of all contributions. One of the important aspects of these projects sometimes that gets overlooked is the development of our students and our graduates and what we call HQP, high quality personnel. We have up to 160 people employed on these projects now, getting experience in the areas of their study, which eventually they'll go on to advanced studies or go to work with industry where they've already got sort of a leg up on other people in their field. The AIF program is something that originated out of the federal government as part of their strategy to facilitate greater engagement between universities and industry. The program is designed to increase R&D carried out in Atlantic Canada research facilities and improve the region's capacity to undertake R&D. And I guess the key point here is, the underpinning here is to try to strengthen the region's innovation system by supporting commercialization partnerships between the private sector and universities and institutes in Atlantic Canada. Key part of making these projects work is the industry engagement. And the project ideas, there's no set formula. Sometimes they originate with industry and they come to Memorial looking for somebody with expertise to help them solve their problem. Sometimes the industry proponent may already have an existing relationship with a professor or group of professors and want to engage them in a project of this nature. Sometimes it's a professor who has an idea and thinks it's got commercial potential but doesn't have a partner. So we see a variety of different scenarios. What we try to do in our role is we try to facilitate these partnerships. If the professor does not have an industry sponsor, we try to find one for him. For those that are sort of new to the university or to the community, we try to encourage them to attend as many networking events as they can, and there's quite a few that happen around town and around campus these days. And suggestions such as attending industry professional meetings, outreach sessions, conferences, and workshops where you may get an opportunity to get a chance to talk about what you're capable of doing, what expertise you have, and see if that could excite somebody in the room. And as I said, a big part of what we do is to try to find partners for your idea. Over the past 4 years since I've been engaged in this program, you learn a few things about what makes a successful project, and these projects are very much about engagement and collaboration. And at the outset, we try to make it clear what the expectations are of Memorial, but also, we have to understand what the expectations are of industry. And I guess first and foremost, to be able to get industry excited, in addition to just having an idea, I think the word value proposition keeps coming up more and more as I talk to industry. And, we talk to them, we try to get them involved in projects, and they say, well, what's in it for me? How is this going to help my company? How is it going to improve our bottom line? And so for us, looking at it from, the inside out, we've got to be able to communicate how this particular project, technology, process, whatever it is that we're trying to offer is going to provide this company with knowledge and potentially a competitive advantage. The other part is the companies are looking for is this is an opportunity to generate revenue. So they're looking at for a right to commercialize IP, and we assist in that role as well because we facilitate the negotiations through Genesis towards development of IP agreements and partnership agreements and so on. The other side for Memorial is that you don't have to sacrifice your academic principles to be part of this project. I mean, fundamental to these projects is the opportunity to provide students with education and training. We protect your right to publish and also, to build capacities, enhance your labs and so on, so you can continue to grow your research. And then at the end of the day, we'd like to see a win-win situation where we see some IP generated that will eventually generate revenue for the company and royalties for the university. So the application process, it's a two-stage process. First stage is a letter of intent. The dates are not specific yet. They're usually announced in the spring around the time that the awards are made. Usually they're announced, the deadline's around May or June. And then there's a stage 2, which is a full proposal stage, and that the dates of submission are usually around September or October. One of the things that we are doing at MRP is we try to assist you every step of the way in preparing your letter of intent and your full proposal. We're there to help you with just about all aspects, to provide you advice on how to frame it, shape your proposals, make sure that you have all the essential ingredients to put together an effective proposal. There's a lot more I could talk about here, just briefly. I mean, if you are successful, we provide you, we assist you with all the contractual negotiations, so as a researcher, you're not burdened with that. We assist with managing the money, we assist you with hiring staff, so, we provide you with many services so that you can focus on what you do best, and that's do research. If you have any questions, you can reach me at my email or my phone number that's provided. Okay, thank you.
Generally, in my office, I'm dealing with faculty when they first, they're successful with the other 3 offices and other funding opportunities. That's when I get to see people. So unfortunately, by the time you get to me, we're ready to go get some leverage money. That's essentially what I do. So I guess that is the definition of lettuce, ketchup, Dijon mustard, whatever. Anyway, so in my office, and there are now 3 of us in the office. There's myself and my colleague Joy Carew, who's hiding up in the back. These are the 4 programs that we see. Marlise alluded to it. We do Canada Research Chairs, Canada Foundation for Innovation, CFI, Research and Development, RDC, and Petroleum Research, Newfoundland and Labrador. These are the 4 programs. Lots of information on the website, so that's up there. You'll have that as well. Just to give you a snapshot of where we are with these 4 major programs that Joy and myself oversee. Currently, right now, we have 18 active Canada Research Chairs. Active means that there are people in it, they're proceeding, they're doing research. The Canada Research Chairs is a program that's spread out through the university, so you can have, any kind of faculty involved in that. It's quite a neat program. And since its inception, I think it was 1997, I think CFI came on, we have been awarded some memorial. Institutionally, we hold approximately $52 million to 130 projects. It's pretty substantial. Now, the key thing with CFI is that they cap you at 40%. So you got your project, you're capped at 40%, and then we have to find 60%. Generally, the 60%, or well, 50% of the 60% usually comes from RDC. So most of the projects that I see with CFI, their budget will be broken down CFI, RDC, and then usually vendor in kind. So the next bullet there, RDC. So to date, since its inception, so probably about 2009, I think it is, we have approximately $50 million to 170 projects. So we have some big projects in there. And like I said, these are led by full-time faculty members who are on campus. And like I said, a lot of it tied up with Mark and his AIF. And then in my ketchup-like capability, I come and say, hey, let's leverage. And currently right now, with respect to, the last bullet, there's no PRNL, Petroleum Research Newfoundland and Labrador, PRNL. PRNL is an organization that grew from one that was called PRAC. OCP has now assumed responsibility for this program. So we only have 4 projects to date, 1.5 million we expect that to grow. So, the Canada Research Chairs. When we first started, when the program was first established, it was pretty much, you know, come one, come all, whatever faculty nominate, get a nomination, figure out what area you want to have a chair. Well, we've kind of passed that stage now. Now we're into, we have existing chairs, we're into renewals. So the senior exec put together this policy. The policy came into effect, I think, fall 2012. And what it ensures is that we can equitably distribute the chairs throughout the institution. It makes sure that everybody has a crack at it and you don't have chairs concentrated in one area or the other. We're still learning the ins and outs of the policy, but so far so good. With respect to Canada Foundation for Innovation, CFI, the majority of the applications that flow through our office right now are through the Leaders Opportunity Fund. We have an institutional allocation, so projects that come to us have to first go through an internal review process. There is a call that is issued by the VPR, and there's obviously a date and stuff, so you have to submit expressions of interest. It's reviewed internally, and the people who are then selected will go on to full application, and they'll submit in the fall. I know it's a little bit onerous for some researchers because now you're putting an extra step in there, but it's actually increased our success rate. So when we're submitting applications in the fall, we're pretty much running between 90 and 100% success rate. We get really good return. So it's, you know, researchers don't like to do the 2 steps, which is unfortunate, but make sure we get good applications and good money. With respect to RDC, they will accept applications at any time, but they can do targeted calls. The majority of applications that flow through us are through RDC's Leverage program. Leverage means that you're coming to the table with money already in hand. So like I said previously with respect to CFI, you got CFI 40%, you're going to RDC Leverage for some of that other money. The other program that we see a lot of applications through is called RDC's Ignite program. That would be essentially startup funds for new faculty. So again, you're not getting to us until you've pretty much gone through your department head, dean, director, and then they send you our way and we try and hook you up with some startup money. And it's usually capped at $100K. And you only had 12 months from your start date to get your application in. But anyway, that's where the majority of our applications flow into RDC. RDC Ignite, Leverage. They also have another program, Collaborative. That's the big money. That's the industry money coming to the table, and then we're looking to match it. And, you know, again, we have a lot of involvement with Mark and RDC. Like I said, with respect to PRNL, this is a new program that we're currently looking after. They have an open, I guess they'll take in applications at any time, but they do have targeted calls. I think, if memory serves, right, they fund and facilitate collaborative R&D on behalf of Newfoundland Labrador's oil and gas industry. I guess maybe the key message to take with these programs is that the opportunity is there, but with like any other program, any of the tri-councils, you have to make sure that you're eligible to apply. So are you a fit with the mandate? Are you a fit with the mission? Are you eligible? Let's get to work and see if we can get you some money. Okay, so basically what myself and my colleague Joy, what we do is we are involved with the pre-award phase. So that's from the minute you show up in the office, we'll work you right up through to the submission of the application. If the application is funded, we work you right through until you end the project. So that's, we're involved with financial stuff, amendments, reporting, accountability. We don't leave you alone. We will chase you until the project concludes. A good thing or a bad thing, depends to be seen. So anyway, so like I said, and it's for those 4 major programs. Actually, we just had a new person start just on Monday, so I forgot there's not just me and Joy anymore, there's Matthew too. And what we've done to make things a little bit easier, Joy oversees applications, faculty members from the Faculty of Science, Matthew is with engineering, and I carrying the biggest stick. So it's good times. So, well, I guess you'll have all this information, and yeah, if you have any questions, email address is there. Okay, thank you.